Okay. Not on camera and not on a podcast.
It's private moment,
Yeah, fair enough.
I want to create a podcast.
It's like I get to explore my animal. It's kind of a personal story, but if you want, I can tell you.
You can if you want.
Because living in the moment is about dealing with all of the shit that you need to deal with.
But something is not enough.
That's what I wish for you, to lose control in your studio. Like, where you're just fucking painting. That's the spiritual path. It's like, I'm not perfect. I want to eat chocolate. I want to do stupid things. I'm just going to watch that desire.
Very hard assignment.
I love it.
You talk it's so easy because you know how to do that. Like you are a camera guy and you know how to do that. But I don't know. Like I don't know.
But I love seeing you uncomfortable.
I know.
Okay, I know you love me, so it's okay. But like,
I don't know how to start the conversation about our interview.
You just said, I don't know how to start the conversation. Is for example, a perfect way to start the conversation.
So we started. Okay, so how do you define the success?
It's a good question. How do I define success? I think I always return back to that word. And I think that the definition changes depending on where I am in my life. But I think the definition of success is doing or living a life that is fulfilling, that is energizing, feeds you in resources, like financially, but also creatively. But I also think that success is probably, for me, I think success is a broader term in the sense of I think we think of success usually in terms of financial or career or accomplishments. But I don't know if any one of those are worth anything to me. I'm not saying this is to everybody, but are worth anything if there isn't close people that allow you to be yourself, that are around.
Mm-hmm.
That's the truth. I think it's really important for me. I keep saying for me because I don't know the answer for everybody, but I know for me, I don't feel successful if I'm not able to be myself, and I'm only able to be myself when I'm able to take care of people and they're able to tell me thank you. They notice me, they see me, and they let me continue to do that. Success is a conscious pursuit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that, for a lack of a better term, comes with a balance of priorities. And so you need to accomplish, and you need to have resources coming in, or I do. And you also need to be able to take those resources and those accomplishments and have them be aware of emotional life. For me, emotional life is very, very important.
Yes.
Love and intimacy and friendship and healing.
Yes, I hear you, Lawrence. Could you tell that now you have your success at that moment?
No, I don't think so. I think I'll tell you something where I think I have success. I think I have success in this moment right now with you. With you right now, I have success.
Okay.
Because all of the things that I love to do are happening in this moment. One of the things that I really loved about yoga, and when I really start to love yoga and yoga philosophy, is the idea of enlightenment. But where I felt liberated was when I started understanding enlightenment wasn't a destination, but it could happen in any moment.
Mm-hmm.
It can happen in any moment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm enlightened.
Yeah.
I just found out something new. I'm enlightened, or Я в настоящем моменте. I'm in the present moment with you right now. So I feel with you right now a connection. I feel safe with you. I feel like you're listening, and I'm giving you something that is valuable right now. And whoever else is watching this recorded thing in the future, I also feel myself like you're giving me something by being in this space together, by giving me this kind of attention and asking me these questions. So for me, this is success right now.
So the success depends from situation and from your point of view, how you look at things and how you feel in that moment. Yeah. So
do you feel like you have success?
Now when I'm listening to you and when you talk honestly about your thoughts, I feel like I have a success with you too in this moment. So yeah.
What about in your life in general? Like that question that is on the day planner, that's like, if today was your last day, do you feel like a successful life has been lived?
Yes, in general, I feel like I have success in life in general, but something is not enough. I'm looking for something all the time. And if everything is very good, it's maybe something wrong with you. Like when it's all bad, is bad, of course, it's terrible. But when all is good, it's not good as well. If all good in general, I must to create something and make for myself something challenging. How you came to Bali?
I came to Bali the first time in 2009. My friend invited me when I was living in Hong Kong. She was a musician, and we wanted to make some music together because I love writing poetry.
Oh, okay.
And like rapping and stuff.
So you still do that? You still write poetry?
Yeah, sometimes. I don't write as much, but I can sometimes, like if you bring out a drum, I'll start freestyling. Not necessarily well, because I'm rusty.
Why do you think so? Why do you think so?
Why do I think not well?
Yes.
I think only because I don't have much practice. Like if I was doing it all the time, I think it would be good. Like I feel like I have a natural talent of speaking to rhythm, but because I don't do it all the time, sometimes I get nervous. But like, nervous isn't bad. Sometimes nervous is good, as you know. It's just that if I don't practice something, when I get nervous, it stops me from doing it. I start thinking. Yeah. But if I practice, I know, I just need to stop thinking. So it's these little barriers that just remind me, get out of your head, or if they're so strong because there's not a habit. So you like the thoughts and the fear keep me out of my head, or keep me in my head. But I came to Bali I was living in Moscow and with a group of students that came with me on a yoga tour, on a yoga retreat at the beginning of the pandemic, like right at the beginning of the pandemic. So I brought 30 students with me to Bali. I was so excited. I was like, you're gonna see Bali. I love Bali. It's so cool. And like, it was cool, but Bali was closed down. And we were traveling from hotel to hotel, and it was fine. But I think it was a scary time for everybody, and for me too. And really, I couldn't go back to Moscow because I'm Canadian. I have a Canadian passport, and Russia stopped letting in anybody except for Russians. So I had to go to Canada or stay on Bali. And I was like, Canada looks weird right now. It didn't feel right. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. But I had a moment where I had, it's a good story. It's kind of a personal story, but if you want, I can tell you.
You can if you want.
The year before the pandemic happened, my grandmother died. And I was in Toronto for a month. I was only supposed to be for a week, but my visa didn't have enough pages in it, and it just created a whole delay, and I had to stay by accident instead of a week like I was planned, for a month. And that was the last month of my grandmother's life. So it was pretty special the way it happened, because I got to spend a lot of time with her. And as she was passing away, like as that last month, I asked her, Babushka Rita, I said, when you die, when you go, when she was still alive, I said, when you go, how are you gonna let us know that you're with us? What kind of sign are you gonna send us? And I was there with my mom. My mom is not very emotional. She's just like, and Babushka says, blue skies and green trees. And I was like, I looked at my mom and I was like, you could have said a butterfly or something. You know, I was like, she could have said a bird, or she could have said something, but okay. So here I am a year later on Bali, nervous because am I going to go to Canada? Am I going to stay on Bali? Can't go to Russia. I was with a friend of mine who was living on Bali. She came to visit me at the hotel we were at. And I said to her, probably going to go to Canada. And she's like, are you crazy? You're not going anywhere. You're staying here. Why would you leave? And as soon as she said that, I became terrified. Because I think it was the first time that I seriously considered that I'm gonna stay. And I was scared of Bali in a world that was not, like, nobody knew what was gonna happen, right? Like, it looked scary. For me, I wasn't at my home. I was in some like weird place. When I got scared, I very quickly realized that if I'm scared, imagine what my students are like. They must be scared. They don't tell me, they don't show me. But if I'm scared, they must be scared. And right away, as soon as I realized that they're probably scared, I shifted. And I was like, oh, this isn't about me anymore. This is about them. I have to take care of them now. Up to that moment, I was just like so annoyed. I was like, we keep going on these excursions, on one trip after the next trip, and then one yoga class after the next yoga class. I was like, I'm so tired, enough. But then all of a sudden I was like, oh, I'm here for my students. So the next day I teach a class. It's a beautiful class, very powerful. And at the end of class, I say to everybody, take the next 2 minutes to do back bends, pragida. Take your own time. I got on my mat and I started doing back bends, like crazy back bends. I don't think I've done that kind of back bend since. Like going into a mosque, like in a full wheel, and then jumping into handstand, and like I was just in my own space. And I made a playlist for that class, and the playlist that I made for that class is a song that I listened to on repeat the night before my grandmother passed away, the last time that I was with her. And that song starts playing as I'm back bending. And I'm like, oh my God, like my back bends are like heart openers, you know? So I'm like, oh my God, babushka. And in that moment, I look up, I'm lying on my back because I was doing back bends. I'm lying on my back and I look and I see blue sky, green trees. And I'm like, oh fuck, I have to stay on Bali.
You know, I can understand you because, a few months ago, I lost my grandmother too, you know, and she died, and it was very stressful for me. And she was like my mom, you know, so I'm still feeling like she's somewhere here, you know. So
Yeah.
And
Sometimes I still like I'm having a tough day, and then all of a sudden I'll recognize blue sky. I mean, I'm in Bali.
but the blue skies for you, it means like something more than blue skies. So it's
Yeah.
Could you tell that Bali atmosphere somehow change you or helps you to grow up and so on? How the atmosphere of Bali affects you?
A lot. And Bali is so diverse. Today I'm in, like right now I'm in Seminyak, but I was in Canggu today. But I'm living now in Ubud. So this morning I was in Canggu, which is on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
But 2 months ago I moved to Ubud, which is the jungle.
Yeah.
They're
with
different.
Monkeys.
Sorry?
With monkeys.
With monkeys, yeah. They're different. They're very different.
Mm-hmm.
Ubud is a feeling place. It's feeling like you have to like my whole life right now is like this.
Uh-huh.
It's feeling. And as soon as I get to Canggu, it's like fire. It's like out.
Uh-huh. Which one do you like? Do you like better? More?
I don't know. They're so different. I was writing about it today in my morning pages.
Uh-huh.
I was writing about it today because I was like, I'm in Canggu. Like, Ubud is so calm. I can see how it's good for me.
Uh-huh. Okay.
But Canggu is about ambition. And Ubud is about like spiritual development.
Okay.
And I think that probably because outward perception of myself as really outgoing, as really like charismatic, really energetic, you know, like really like,
yeah.
I think that I created that personality because I think I'm actually more like Ubud. Like I think I'm more like I want to be on my own.
Yeah.
I want to do my own thing. I need to feel, I need to process. But I created these tools in my life that protected that part of myself from the world. So I was like, look at me, I'm here.
I'm understand you, you know.
And like your painting, like I was talking to you about today, like about your painting being a good way to express yourself, it worked for me. It got me this far. Like the mask that I created was a positive thing, but I'll never be satisfied in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I like created it so well that I started to believe that's who I was. I'm finding myself still. It's crazy to say, like, and like in a way that only I can do on Bali. Like I'm dancing like 3 times a week. I would never even imagine that I'm gonna go to dance, like ecstatic dance. And it's like, and I love it because there's like, I get to explore my animal.
Okay, yeah.
My human animal. Like I've been in a world of like, you have to fit in these, you know, as a yoga teacher, and I'm always trying to break out as a man, as a human, as a son, as a Canadian, as a Russian, as a, you know, and I think only in Bali can I like use all these skills, but also explore my animal, like my desires without judging them, but not just like going after them, but like finding distance. That's the spiritual path. It's like, I'm not perfect. I want to eat chocolate. I want to do stupid things. I'm just going to watch that desire. I'm not going to necessarily do it. But when I do decide to do it, I'm going to do it consciously. I'm not going to lose control. Or a better way to say it is, when I lose control, I'm going to do it consciously and responsibly.
Okay, yes.
When I say I lose control, I think of you like just going fucking crazy painting.
Yeah, I hear you.
And crying and like dancing and moving and anyways.
I do that, but alone, you know. Alone.
Yeah. Okay. Not on camera and not on a podcast.
Yeah, it's private moment, you know.
Yeah, fair enough. It's hard to work with me because it's really difficult for people to work with me because I'm such a big energy. So I find it has been challenging for people who are like if I want to teach with another yoga teacher, it never works out.
It's hard to work with you like a yoga teacher or like just in general?
No, I think it's like I'm really honest and I really want for real life to happen. I don't want to like act things out, make it look like. I really want real life to happen.
Okay.
And I think that for a lot of people, it's difficult to live real life.
And
like I'm comfortable having difficult conversations.
Okay.
I'm comfortable trying and experimenting in real time. And I think that a lot of people are like, they want to like make sure that they're ready and they know what's going to happen. And I'm more like, I like when things are messy.
Yeah.
I think it's more more interesting.
Yes, I agree with you. Totally agree with you about messy things.
I think it's more interesting when things are messy. It's
Yeah.
real life.
Yeah, it's real life. And
so I need somebody who respects that.
Do you get some critics from other people or maybe not?
I mean, critics for sure, because people like to be, not everybody, but a lot of people like to be safe. They like to they don't want surprises. And sometimes when I think something is genius and brilliant, they're like, no, that was horrible. And then I'm like, oh my God, how can you say genius was horrible? How did you miss the point?
Yeah.
I don't like resistance. I think that I have a lot of growth in my life that I still need to do. But I think that a place that I'm very developed is in living in the moment. And I'm learning even more and more how to live in the moment, because living in the moment is about dealing with all of the shit that you need to deal with so that this moment isn't about anything else. There's no distractions. And I'm learning how to do that better and better every day.
So thank you for your honest answer. You know, it's very, very nice, and I really appreciate it. Like, you go so deep. You give me, you know, very, how to say, food for thinking. We say it like this. You know?
Food for thought.
Yes. Last question will be: what's the favorite thing on Bali for you?
Hard question. I think there's so many things. I can make a list. I could really make a list. Go to a spa or go to a massage. I can always find it. If I want good food, I can always find it. I think one of my favorite things on Bali is almost always, and especially in Ubud, especially in Ubud. I can go into a cafe, I can sit beside somebody I've never met before, and I can have a conversation like you and I are having right now.
Okay, that's great, you know. And okay, and the last question is
Last question number 2.
Yes, last question number 2. How do you think does Bali have something special which haven't any other place?
For sure. I don't know what that is. It's a mix of spirituality and modern life. I can't think of anywhere else. I'm sure it exists somewhere, but not with this specific flavor.